This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today, I'm very lucky, joined by Pat Barrett. So, Pat, I expect you're a very busy man right now. It's Yarde versus Lyndon after 2 fight week. How have you been?
I'm good, thanks, Fred. I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've been had a long day. I went down to the Peacock gym and did the kind of. They're meant to be in their public workouts. There's no heating in the Peacock gym, so they just did all the interviews. Yarde was there, Hammers was there, and a bunch of other prospects as well. But what else have you been up to then, Pat? Aside from, we'll talk about Lyndon Arthur and Zelf Barrett further on in the interview. But apart from all the boxing, what else have you been up to?
Um, well, how can I say it? I've got another show myself on the 11th of December. So in between Lyndon and Zelfa, I've got my other lads fighting as well. Even got that good kid on it. It's mad that because he's apparently managed by Tunde that I'm in.
Yeah, he fought Louis Lin like a couple of months ago in August, I think.
That's right. Yeah. He's boxing on the 11th on my show.
Okay, fine. I think there's a lot of boxing shows going on the 11th of December. Who else is on that card?
Connor Ward, Lewis Woods, Niall Brown, Adam Rasul. It's a big card. It's 12 fights on the card.
And do you find that because you've got so many, do you find that kind of a bit distracting in a way because you've got so much stuff to think about as well as Lyndon Arthur, Zelf Barrett, and all his other cards?
To be quite honest with you, nothing's overlooked for me. I always find that the hard work's been done many years ago. From when Lyndon first turned over from the bottom, from fighting on the smaller shows, I think that's where all the hard work was done. We did not do anything different from preparing for the top level because I wouldn't have trained my training regime to say, oh, we've always worked hard. We've always treated our opponents with respect. We've always treated all these so-called journeymen as prospects. Yeah, because the same way you would beat a journeyman would be the same way you would be a prospect. With style, with finesse, you set the shots up, you create things. We don't want them to go in there and expect to win a fight. We're going in there to say, hey, this guy could beat us if we're not on our A game. So with that kind of mentality, yeah, it's been installed into my fighters. It's not something that how I train them for. It's been logged into their membrane. So when I'm able to prepare my fighters for going in to get ready for the fight, they already know. It's just like reprogram them slightly. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to go back and say, oh, we've got to do all this hard. No, the hard work is natural. Yeah, this ain't the Rocky film. So we're always going to do that work. But the main side is the brain, it's the inside the head. Because when you've been fighting regular, okay, this is an example, and you've been fighting regular, you don't have time to think about anything else but, oh, my next fight's in 3 weeks' time or it's in 4 weeks' time because I'm active. But when you become inactive and you become a champion, you're fighting lesser. So you've also got your mind becomes a lot more clouded with different things because you've got more time to what you call it. So training then becomes a little bit rather than a lot. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing really. What you have to watch for when you're inactive. Luckily for me, I'm able to keep them active in a different way. As far as Lyndon and Zelf is concerned, we've always remained because there's a lot of obstacles out there for the likes of Zelf and Lyndon, and there's a lot of hurdles they've got to get over. They've still got to get over. And even though we beat Anthony Yarde before, and it was a close fight, I mean, I know this fight's going to be a tough fight again with Anthony Yarde. I'm not going to lie, but at the end of the day, when I say it's a tough fight, it's going to be as tough as we allow it to be. We prepare well, which we have done. And going into it, our routine doesn't change. It's like you've got Pep Guardiola from Man City, for instance. How he's made Man City play together as a team, it's amazing. There's been many managers that have come in and tried, and none of them have done it, but they've gelled. And me and Lyndon have gelled from day one. I'm not a new trainer. I don't change anything, and I've got set in my own ways. So we can only grow better, which in so many ways they brought in another trainer, which is very good, by the way. I like James Cook. I think he's old school. He's come through the boxing game dead like myself. As a journeyman, had it hard. Beat Mark Taylor. Went on to great things from there. I like him. I admire James Cook, and I think if James Cook was playing the leading role with Anthony Yarde, I think Anthony Yarde would be a million times better fighter. I just don't know if they've had enough time to gel together that way, and then I can't see Tunde being pushed to one side and wanting somebody else to come in and replace him, because then it just shows what everybody else says. Tunde's no good for the job. Now, the thing with Tunde, he's done it twice before, okay, with Anthony Yarde and got it wrong. With Kolarov and with Lyndon Arthur, okay, and he's got it wrong twice. Yeah. Now, I don't know. He's a bit puzzled because third time, how is he going to get it right? You can't tell a kid you're going to knock somebody out and make them want to believe it, because what happens when they don't knock them out? What's your plan B? Do you know what I mean? We don't have a plan B. We have the alphabet. Yeah, we go right through the alphabet. We don't look for knockouts. We create knockouts. We set knockouts up. If it happens, it happens. We're versatile now. We can fight. We can fight every way. I'm not going to lie. We train for the hard fight now. We're expecting Anthony Yarde to come out to fight, and we prepared to accept that. And this is what we're going to do. Yeah, because I know we can't outbox Lyndon. No fucking way. No way. Yeah. And I know he can't knock Lyndon out because Lyndon only had one hand and it didn't knock him out then. Yeah. So it's a throw of the dice, really, isn't it?
I can understand what you're saying there. When I spoke to Anthony Yarde today, I asked him about kind of the changes he was making, and obviously you mentioned it there. James Cook has been brought into the camp. What changes have you made this time around, or have you not made any at all?
Changes. What changes do I need to make? Well, no, I mean, not being rude when I say all this. I'm just saying, what changes do I need to make? If you was my position, you're a knowledgeable kid for boxing, what changes would you think that Pat Barrett would need to make on towards Lyndon? One thing I would say, throw the right hand, yeah, and time it, okay? And there's no injuries there, and there's no excuse. And the funny thing is, never, ever, ever in your life underestimate anyone. Don't underestimate nothing or anyone. And that's where their ignorance and their rude allows them to ignore Lyndon's punching power. Yeah, they seem to think Lyndon can't punch, and they seem to think that they can knock Lyndon out. But how do you know that they can't get knocked out before? Because it's happened before in his career. Yeah, and we can say, well, Lyndon's not been knocked out, and we can say he's undefeated, and we can say Lyndon will fight to keep that clean sheet. Yeah, where Anthony Yarde has already been beaten, and he's fighting for his life now, because this is everything to Anthony Yarde. It's everything to everything to lose and everything to gain. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's the way it is. We've got something you want, yeah. And once again, we coming into your back garden to fight you, yeah, to defend our title. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So when you say what would I change, I wouldn't change anything about Lyndon. Yeah, his IQ is absolutely fantastic. It's what I would do to make him better. I would sharpen up his IQ. I would make sure he stays switched on. Yeah. And that jab is going to be super sharp and super strong. Where before, I don't think it was as strong as I would like it to be. Yeah. That jab, when it hits you now, it's not going to be like a jab. And I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah. That jab is going to be like a pole. It's going to be, when you get hit with it, you don't want to get hit with it again. Because it's in his mind, and I've told him, 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 and Anthony Yarde has been in my mind from the first time we signed with Frank Warren. And Frank Warren will tell you it was the first fight that I asked for when we signed with him. He was that kid there. He was about 7-0, and it was about the same kind of record. I said, give us that kid. We'll fight him. We will fight him there first of all. And Frank Warren will tell you, on my kid's life, I asked for that first fight. I asked for that fight first. And you know what Frank Warren said? No. Because in so many ways, I look at what Anthony Yarde fights and who he fights and what his team. Anthony Yarde is a fighter. Yeah, he's a fighter. He's a real fighter. Yeah, there's nothing fake about him, nothing false about him. He's a fighter. He fights who he's asked to fight, and he does a job. Yeah, that's what he does. But they've never stepped him up. Yeah, and that's not down to Anthony Yarde. That's down to his team, Tunde. He's never put Anthony Yarde in with anybody to test him. Yeah, and every time he's been asked to do something, he wants to handpick his opponents, and that's Tunde's. This is what I'm saying. This is Tunde's fault. I stepped Lyndon up before they took him to Frank Warren, and that's when I knew I couldn't do nothing else with Lyndon no more. He needed a bigger promoter. He needed someone who could get him the right fights. I couldn't afford him. Yeah, and that's why we signed with Frank. When we boxed that for Faraday, whatever it's called, Faraday, yeah, he was undefeated. Now, you know, you can say, oh, he was this. But at the end of the day, yeah, when we boxed, what's he called? What's the African guy called? This is Sapio. What's he called?
I can't remember his name, but that was when Lyndon Arthur won the Commonwealth belt.
Yeah. Even him, both of them, any of them would have given Yarde a good fight. Yeah. David Ferrari, he would have given him a good. You know, I've watched some of the fights with Anthony Yarde, and I'm not slating him. I'm talking about his team. So in everything what I do, it's not the fighter that I watch, not at all. It's the trainer. Yeah, it's the trainer's attitude. It's the trainer's how they go on. I study Tunde in the corner, how he is. Yeah, I watch him as a trainer. I watch him as a person, and he's a glorified man. Yeah, he likes the glory of having Anthony Yarde and that kind of limelight. Yeah, and talking about he'll knock him out and he talks rubbish. Yeah. Always teach the kids how to have respect. Yeah, that's number one. Yeah, in this game. Respect is key. Respect to the opponent. Yeah. Respect their camp. Even if we're gonna beat them, we don't need to do all that trash talking and all that hype and stuff. Whatever I said about Tunde and say it to him, I mean it's kind of getting personal between me and him. Because I find him disrespectful, I find him rude, I just find him no, you know what I mean? He's just not a nice person, he's a hypocrite, he contradicts himself.
Do you think we'll see a more aggressive Anthony Yarde this time around than the first time? Because we did see it we did see him turn up in the 12th round last time. Do you think he might turn the heat up a bit in the earlier rounds?
You know what? I don't possess a crystal ball to tell you how I think Anthony Yarde's going to turn up. Yeah, and I'm not worried about how Anthony Yarde's going to turn up. It doesn't faze me one little bit. It's about what we're going to do. Yeah, Anthony Yarde can turn up however he wants to turn up, but however he turns up, yeah, we've got an answer for every possible question that you're going to answer us, or he's going to ask us, or not me, Lyndon has. Yeah, because as a trainer, I always like to make sure that I cover every angle and double check it. Yeah, and on the night, you can't be responsible. It's down to the fighter. If that fighter has one inkling or one little thing on his mind, he's never going to be the same fighter. Yeah, and that's the fact of the matter. So my job is to make sure Lyndon's mind is as clear as the water that he's going to be drinking on that night. It's got to be crystal. Yeah, and that's what I do from now until then, is make sure that his mindset is right. I don't watch anything else about Anthony Yarde. I don't got time to think about Anthony Yarde. I've done all that now, yeah. I'm not a bravado kind of guy like, yeah, come on, Lyndon, no. No, I'm just looking at his mind. I'm talking to him every day. I'm seeing a different Lyndon. I'm feeling a different Lyndon. Yeah, and that's all that matters. They've got a lot to worry about in that camp. There's a lot that's going through Anthony Yarde's mind. It's too much. There's one thing they didn't do with Anthony Yarde. After the Kolarov fight, yeah, all the shit that's in his head, they never stimulated it. They never worked it out. They never marinated it. Okay, they never needed it. Like, you know, massaged it through, get rid of all that shit, clear it out. They just put him in the ring again and thought, yeah, you're okay. You're not. You're not. Once you've been knocked out of exhaustion, you've got the anxiety. Yeah, it's like if you've been jumped by a mob. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're walking out and you see a mob. What do you think the first thing's going to come through your mind? I'm going to get attacked again. And even though you're not, you're thinking the worst. There's too much to go through your head. There's too much. Yeah, and it's not about asking someone to do all right. You have to understand. You have to get into that head like a surgeon. You have to operate. You have to make sure that everything is okay. You've got an understanding. Are you scared? Listen, son, you can tell me if you're scared. Listen, it's only normal. let them be honest with you, because when you've got kids what you've raised, honesty is the key. And if there's any doubt, look, I won't lie to say Lyndon wasn't afraid of Yarde's punchy power the first time he fought him. And I don't say scared, but, really fought. And I said to Lyndon, let me tell you something, son. Let me tell you something. This is 3 words said. You can't knock out what you can't hit, okay? It's very one-dimensional. These are guys that he fights. They come to fight, and they come to stand in his way, and they make the job easy. You've got the IQ of 5 champions, yeah, right? And the way you are, don't worry about him. Worry about yourself, yeah. And that's how you're gonna fight this fight, and this is how you're gonna win this fight. And you know what? Just that night and then few nights of telling him that, and he understood it. He stuck to his game plan. Yeah. It's okay, Anthony Yarde saying he was going to do this, but you can't land to knock out someone. And this time round, if you're going to rush in, you're going to walk onto things. It's so much what's going on that we've created around it to protect us in so many ways. Honestly, you're going to see sparks. You're going to see different things.
And you mentioned the game plan there. Do you think Lyndon Arthur's game plan, obviously you can't reveal it, but do you think the game plan will be any different to the first fight?
We don't have a game plan. We don't have a game plan because this is what a lot of people don't understand about boxing. I've boxed before. I've boxed at the highest level, and I've trained fighters at the highest level. You don't know what person's going to turn up that night. You might be getting ready for the fighter, okay? Yeah. But he's going to come totally different. Like, for instance, Tyson Fury. One day, he came out as a southpaw. He boxed as a southpaw. It was totally unexpected. Yeah. And didn't turn over. Yeah. Now, how hard is that? You're training weeks and weeks in a camp with a guy, and then they come out totally different. They shock you. Like, what the fuck's going on? And while you're thinking that, you're getting peppered. Yeah. And they don't know what they're training for with Lyndon. So I don't know what they're preparing for. Yeah. This is what I'm trying to say. Everybody doesn't know what Lyndon's going to come out on, what it's going to be like. You know what I'm saying? Just like I don't know what Anthony Yarde's going to be like and what's he going to be, how is he going to be. People say, is he going to start fast? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? However you make sure you do, yeah, it's like a game of chess. Yeah. Checkmate. You're ready. Yeah, that's all you have to be, is ready for whatever's going to come your way. Ready. Good defense, good distancing, good left jab. Can't beat it. Simple things.
Yeah, certainly. As you go back, I know it's cliche, everyone says it, but you don't even plan until you get punched in the face. Just one last thing, Pat. Can I just get a quick prediction for what happens Saturday?
For the Lyndon fight?
Yes.
Do I have a prediction?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to win. 100%. I'm not going to say we're going to knock him out. I'm not going to say do this. I think this time around, though, there's more of a chance of Lyndon knocking Yarde out. Yeah. There's a lot more of a chance for Lyndon knocking Yarde out.
How badly hurt was his right hand before that first fight?
How badly hurt with it? Look, I'm not in Lyndon's body, okay? For you to ask me that question, it's impossible. But of course, it was hurt enough. It's not a question of it being. This is what I get. Yeah, I would rather not throw something if I know I'm going to put hurt on it. Yeah, and have the pain or the thought of that in my head when someone trying to knock me out. Do you know what I mean? And if there's no pain in it and I'm winning a fight with the left hand, yeah, I don't want to agitate something. And that's what I got from Lyndon. He didn't want to throw it because if he missed, it would have been that kind of. This is the way I see it. It would have been painful. Yeah. So when he did throw one right hand, and the only right hand it threw, and it was flush, bang on the chin, yeah, that was the only punch that he really threw. He did throw other right hands, but there was half-hearted right hands. Yeah. And you try to use that right hand, but again, everything what was in that right hand coming from that side was half-hearted. It wasn't real. Yeah. The only thing that everything came real from was the left.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that jab, it was coming off after that. There was that fight. Before that fight, you had Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. and Joey stopped the while with the jab, and then Lyndon Arthur won the first fight with a jab. But I'll see you on. Hopefully, I'll be there the fight on Saturday night, Pat. Hopefully, I'll be able to tell you guys media. So I'm sure we'll catch up. Hopefully, we'll catch up after the fight then. Does that sound good?
Like a plan, my friend.
Awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be a good fight, mate. Thank you for your time again. It's always appreciated.
Cheers, Fred. Thanks a lot, mate.